everyone to City Hall. We're glad you're here. This is the Tuesday, January 2026 meeting of the City Council of Prospect. The time is just a little after 7 o'clock. First item on the agenda is the call to order. So I call this meeting to order. The next item is an added item on the agenda. We have a guest with us, and he is a candidate for office. I'll introduce Mr. Carl Price and ask Carl to step up and tell us what he's up to.
Thank you, Mayor.
I'll turn this around.
No, he's gonna, I think
You did it? Okay.
yeah, I think he ought to face the folks.
Okay, great.
That's just my thought
That's fine.
as a fellow politician.
There's more voters out there than up here.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Good evening. As the mayor has indicated, my name is Carl Price. I am a candidate for the Jefferson County Attorney's Office. I'm going to start my timer. And so I have this because I was at another city council meeting and I was at the podium and I was told by my campaign manager that I had 3 minutes. And I heard a choo-choo train sound and I thought that was my time was up. And I found out later that it was somebody's cell phone.
Somebody's phone.
So I'm going to try to keep the time along with you all myself. But good evening. My name is Carl Price. I am a practicing attorney here in Louisville. I have been a practicing attorney since 1991. I became a member of the bar in 1990. I am a candidate for the office of Jefferson County Attorney, and it's good to see these two young men that I used to work with. I am told by my campaign manager that there's a 3-step process in these speeches that we give. One is only 3 minutes, so I have to take some time to tell you who I am, tell you why I'm here, and tell you why I'm running for the office. I'm here, of course, because I am from a big family. My mother has 16 children, 8 boys, 8 girls, 4 sets of twins, and she taught us to just try to always meet people face to face and just talk to them. And I know this campaign period is very short. I am in the Democratic primary. And for those of you, I'm going to take a pause and say for those of you who cannot vote in the Democratic primary, I will remind you of a hit song by Beyonce's old group, Destiny's Child, that says, when you get out there, just say my name, say my name. I served as an assistant county attorney for 25 years under 3 different county attorneys. And I left the office 10 years ago. I was a chief arraignment court prosecutor, lead prosecutor for crimes involving firearms, lead night traffic court prosecutor, and a special assistant attorney general at times under about maybe 2 or 3 attorney generals. I was a domestic violence prosecutor, child support prosecutor, tried over 500 cases to juries. One of the reputations that I had, sometimes I was proud of it, sometimes I was not so proud of it. Everybody thought I was tough. They said, oh, that Carl Price is tough. But I really believe in safe neighborhoods, and that's why I'm running for this office. I believe that, okay, I believe that I only have 25 seconds left. Was it just, maybe I should have just left the phone. But in any case, let me just be real quick because I don't want to take up too much time on you all's meeting. I really do believe in safe neighborhoods, and I really do believe that we can make a difference in the courthouse. I read a stat not so long ago that homicides were low. There were some other crimes that were low. But one thing about those stats did not really indicate what the percentage of property crime was. Property crime is still high in the city of Louisville. So I want to be the next Jefferson County attorney because I think we can make a difference. I think we can make a difference with trying to identify with clinicians, those with mental health illnesses, those with addiction, that we can try to at least give them an opportunity to be tested as to whether they are real criminals. Please do not misunderstand me. I believe that there is a certain percentage of individuals who are dangerous in this community and they ought to be held severely accountable. But I also believe that there are individuals who are introduced to the court system but they have underlying problems that probably ought to be addressed. So I think my time is up. My name is Carl Price. I am a candidate for Jefferson County Attorney in the Democratic primary, and we'll gladly appreciate your support. I brought just a brief bio here. And, but if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer after the meeting. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor.
Carl, thank you for being here. And you're welcome to stay, you're welcome to leave, however you want to do it. So
I have, honestly, Mayor, I have stayed at these meetings before and other, and I'm just intrigued. As long as I can. I'm always interested.
we appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
So next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. There are two sets of minutes to be considered. The first is the December 15, 2025 regular meeting, and we'll take these up one at a time. So with regard to the December 15, 2025 minutes that have been distributed, are there any changes, additions, corrections? If not, is there a motion to approve those minutes as distributed?
So moved. Second.
Okay, Dr. Furman made the motion. Mrs. Leonard seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved. The next set of minutes is from the January 5, 2026 special council meeting. That was largely held in executive session. It dealt with a legal matter. So those minutes have been distributed to the council. I think they're available on the website. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So move.
Mr. Holmes made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Dr. Furman seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Those minutes also stand approved. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is comments from citizens. And I think there are a couple of folks signed up, but I think they're going to speak a little later in the meeting. And I think Carl signed up and he's already spoken, so I don't think there's anybody else want to say anything? Okay, then we'll move on with the agenda. Next item on the agenda is my report. This is my report on current matters of interest in the city. My report will be more brief than usual. I will touch on 4 items: the status of our public-private partnership and the related development of the Head property, the golf cart ordinance that is before the council this evening for a second reading, an upcoming tour of a Rumpke landfill and recycling facility, and finally, a new format for Coffee with the Mayor, which is now Meet the Mayor. First, regarding the public-private partnership. During the week of January 12 through 15, city planners Jeff Speck and Mike Watkins led their team in creating a design for the development of the Head property. On Wednesday, January 14, Jeff and Mike reported to the council on their progress and preliminary design ideas. At Friday's meeting, January 16, Mike Watkins outlined to the council a completed master plan. I extend my thanks to members of the council for their participation in those special council meetings. Mayor Brainerd stated that we should be able to start work on the site in 2026. I will do my part to help us meet that ambitious goal. Second item in my report is the proposed golf cart ordinance that it is before the council this evening for a second reading and possible adoption. After the council gave a first reading to the ordinance in November, we changed it to extend the time for golf cart owners to retrofit their carts to comply with both the ordinance and state law. That change led to the council giving a new first reading to the ordinance in January. And so it's up this evening for a second reading and possible approval. If adopted, the ordinance will increase safety for those who operate golf carts in Prospect, for passengers on golf carts, and for the public. I encourage the councils to approve the ordinance this evening. Third, the city is offering another tour of Rumpke's Cincinnati landfill and of Rumpke's nearby recycling facility. The tours will take place on Thursday, February 19. Those who sign up will meet at City Hall that morning and will carpool to Cincinnati. The group will return to City Hall by 4 p.m. We have previously organized 2 tours of the landfill and recycling facility, and approximately 30 residents have participated in those tours. All participants have found the tours to be interesting and highly informative. I have toured both facilities, and I found the tours to be most worthwhile. Please let me know if you have an interest in the tour, and I will help you get signed up. As noted, the tour will take place on Thursday, February 19. The fourth item on the agenda is with regard to Coffee with the Mayor. It has been rebranded and relocated. It now takes place on select Fridays at 11 a.m. instead of at noon, and it takes place here in City Hall instead of at Starbucks. So we've tried this once already, and the format's great. We had 2 people come, but that's not unusual. That happens at Starbucks as well as here. But I hope people will take advantage of this. And one big advantage of this new format is that both John Carter, who's our city administrator, and Ron Cundiff, who's our City Works Director, in addition to Tony Denham, our police chief, will be present and be able to answer questions also. So please stop by and say hello. Come with any questions or concerns, and we'll try to address those. So that concludes my report. And the next item on the agenda is the presentation of the 2026 Craig Mile Public Service Award. And the recipient of that is Linda Knox, who's here this evening. So Linda, congratulations. Thank you for your service to the city. I've asked several people to speak. I think everyone here knows Linda chairs the Forestation Board and has been a member of it for many years. She wears a couple of other hats in the city, and you'll hear about those from some of our speakers. But Lee, if you would step up to the lectern and say your piece, that would be great.
First of all, I want to say that the council, the mayor's advisory committee have done very well in choosing Linda Knox for this year's award. Linda has served Prospect in a number of ways, in the library, as a homeowners association president, and as a member and now chairman and chairperson of the Forestation Board. My remarks pertain to her board work. The Forestation Board is responsible for both maintaining and enhancing the beauty and safety of Prospect's tree canopy. This is an ongoing effort because trees are living organisms. They constantly grow, change, die, and they need ongoing attention and informed care. Linda has done a great job of seeing that these trees belong to Prospect, and our residents also are increasingly beautiful and safe. Linda has been a board member since early in its history, I think about 15 years, much of the time as a highly organized secretary and senior advisor to the board's chairman. A very useful, valuable person. And now as a chairperson, she has shown outstanding qualities as both a leader and a doer. She has built up existing programs such as the Canopy Tree effort, in which the city and residents share the cost of buying and planting shade trees, which add to both long-term comfort and beauty. We all know that we walk and live in the shade of trees that other people have planted. She's continuing this effort. She's also initiated a new lecture program, which we have talked about for years, but she's actually doing it. They will start in February and will help educate residents. Be open to residents. We held February 21 for a session on Saturday. Done all of this while using the skills and the contacts of the other board members. And when more resources have been needed, and sometimes they are, she's reached out to other organizations such as Kentucky Forestry Service and Arbor Day Foundation. And it's a true measurable leader when you ask for help, and you know you need it and you get it. And when problems and challenges arrive, and they do in any organization, she's remained clear-headed and focused on solving whatever the current problem is. Linda's efforts have greatly benefited Prospect and are more than worthy of the award.
Thank you, Lee. And for those who don't know, Lee served for many years as the chair of the Forestation Board and continues to serve as a member. So Lee, we appreciate your service, but also your remarks this evening. I think Mr. Herb Philhafer is prepared to say make a few comments.
Well, Linda's worth a lot of words. Let's see, I've had the privilege to volunteer with Linda for 12, 13 years as a member of the Forestation Board. And as Lee said, she is the chair. In many ways, I'll add what Lee said, she was sort of the acting chair, whenever needed to be. So she was in the leadership of the Forestation. Linda's a big thinker. I'll get back to, but she gets the big and the little things complete and done. She does it professionally and in a very polite way. One example of her big thinking is what Lee mentioned, this upcoming where we're going to have a knowledge speaker on oak trees. It's going to come to Prospect. And I'm going to give a little credit to the past two administrations, the current administration and the previous administration and the councils for getting more people oriented and having things for people in Prospect. But Linda's big thinking was, look, we're a tree city, and that's a big deal. Prospect pays for this. They put out the effort to be a tree city. She said, we got a lot of other tree cities around. We're going to invite representatives from the tree cities to come, and I know we can learn, and they can learn about the different things, because as Lee said, it's not so easy in many situations. In many situations, we just advise the city. And one of the, there's hazardous trees, safety hazards that overhang public right-of-ways where people walk and they drive. Well, that's pretty clear cut. But there are also trees that may be a problem to a neighbor. And this mayor very much, he doesn't want neighbors arguing with neighbors. And so the forestation has professionals. We have a professional arborist that really analyzes and determines whether that situation needs to be, remedied. And then we advise the city from the professional way, and the city takes care of it. But it isn't neighbors being upset thinking their rights are taken away, when really safety is really important for all residents. So anyway, Linda is, so we're going to have this February 21. I hope there's a good turnout. Linda said, just made aware of it, that she's going to attend. So anyway, but Linda's always willing to listen and to listen and then talk. And the best way to say it in my little South End way is she makes lemonade out of lemons. So I think Prospect is so fortunate that she's a resident here and is willing to do so much. And I really applaud the city and the council for awarding her this award. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you so much, Herb. Next, I think Linda Wardell, Chairman of the Parks Committee, has prepared some remarks.
Well, I'm delighted to be here and say nice things about a fellow Linda. My husband always says all Lindas are about the same age. Oh, well. Anyway, I first got to know and work with Linda Knox when she assumed leadership of the Forestation Board, and I was chair of the Parks and Recreation Committee. And the two committees share, the Forestation Board and the Parks Committees share a lot of common goals and interests. And it was just easy for us to cooperate and coordinate with each other. And I really appreciate Linda's leadership in that, and Lee before her, because we were working with Forestation Board when Lee was chair too. We attended each other's committee meetings, participated together in ArborFest and the July 4th celebrations and other community events. And we, as the Parks Committee, really appreciated the input of the Forestation Board when choices were being made for trees to be planted in Little Hunting Creek Park. That was a really good coordinated effort. And memorial trees to be selected for Harrods Creek Park and Putney Pond and Woodlands, as well as Little Hunting Creek Park. And through our interactions, I've always observed Linda at work in various situations, and she has always been dedicated to the welfare of the city of Prospect, efficient, knowledgeable, energetic, and creative. But then I learned firsthand about some of her other gifts when she worked with city council and legal counsel to revise the forestation ordinance. For those who don't remember or weren't involved, this was a significant undertaking and required a lot of detailed knowledge, patience, and a fair amount of diplomatic skills. Instrumental in keeping the perspective up front and also working toward that common goal. The city of Prospect has benefited greatly from Linda's dedication and hard work, and it's only fitting that she receives this award. Congratulations.
Thank you, Linda. And Beth Rogers is going to make some remarks.
Good evening. When the mayor called me, he said, everyone knows Linda. They know her ability and everything that she has achieved with forestation. He asked me if I would talk about some other areas of Linda's volunteer work that perhaps no one is aware of or only slightly aware of. I've known Linda for 21 years. When I moved to Prospect, I had asked one of my neighbors, who do I get to trim my tree? Well, his response kind of blew me away. He said, whatever coupon is in my mailbox. Not what I needed to hear. And then one of my other neighbors said, call Linda Knox. Well, I didn't even know Linda Knox at that time. She told me who to call, how to evaluate the beauty of the tree, and the fact that getting a arborist on the group that will be trimming my tree is extremely important for the life of the tree. Because I have two trees that now are close to 4 stories high. And she showed me things that I did not know. Some of her other talents are, my pet project is the library. And I have 12 volunteers that help me with the library. And they are magnificent ladies. Well, Dan also one. I'm sorry. But Linda is always there to assist in whatever our project is. And we do book sales either once or twice a year. I come with my little sign-up sheet. I pass it around to my volunteers on when they can help, what they can do, what they want to do. And I always have a couple blanks on the sheet of paper. Linda hasn't signed up yet. Why? She comes to me and she says, I'm going to fill in my name to every blank so that we have a full roster of volunteers. And she's serious. And oftentimes her name is on more than 2 or 3 blank slots for helping. And that's important. That's really important. Another thing that you may not be aware of is my small HOA. I'm up on Deep Creek, and we have 34 townhouses. Linda has been president of our HOA, I believe, is it 20 years? Getting in there. And I'll tell you, no one is standing in line to take her place. It is the most challenging because of our 34 units, we really have 41 total owners. And sometimes owners, well, They just don't want to listen, or they want to throw the problem off to somebody else. And Linda is always there to make sure that the challenge gets researched. And they're not big challenges, but they're still challenges, and they're big to the homeowner in many cases. So her commitment to our HOA is outstanding, absolutely outstanding, and is very much a thankless job. Linda is also a problem solver in ways that very few people can actually do, and make sure that we've got the balance between right and wrong. And we don't give in to somebody with aggravating somebody else, a diplomat, an absolute diplomat. And I also work, one of my pet projects is Light Up Hunting Creek. With that problem, oops, that was a mistake. It's not a problem. But Linda is our official / unofficial bow maker for Light Up Hunting Creek. And Linda, get the Bengay ready. We have almost 75 new bows to make for this year's project. Thank you for everything you do.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm going to make a few comments, and then I think one or two of the council members may want to say something also. But this is the Craig Mile plaque, and it's full. We've got a supplemental plaque, and that's where Linda's name already appears. It's been added. So these are the people who've become received the Craig Mile Award since I've become mayor: Jeff Sherrard, Lee Tucci, Herb Schulhafer, and Linda Knox. So I think you're in good company in the last 4 years. So the plaque reads, the Craig Mile Public Service Award, established in 1990 to recognize outstanding public service commitments to the city of Prospect, Kentucky, named in honor of Beach Craig Mile for his service as citizen, mayor, and council member through many tireless years of dedication to Prospect before, during, and after its incorporation in 1974. And I look at the list, and the first recipient was 1990, that was Beach Craig Mile. And I look at all the names over the years, and I confess I don't know all of them. I've read about most of them in your book, John, I think. But there are a number of them that I do know, and it's probably a good idea to mention some of these names to show that it's a very not exclusive, but this is sort of the all-star team of Prospect. And Alan Simon is on here. He received the award in 1997. Linda Wardell is on here, and that was in 2011. Susan and Nick Nicholson in 2012. John Embry, 2015. Ron Cundiff, our Public Works Director, in 2016. And there are others. I don't want Todd Eberly, former mayor. Sandy Tucci, Lee's wife, who was a council member and still a very important part of our city. And other names I recognize, Raymond Burse. So it's former Mayor Lawrence Falk. It's a distinguished group, and you're certainly worthy of joining it, and we're pleased and we're very grateful. The term I used the other day was Prospect has a lot of unsung heroes, and you are one of those people. So maybe a little less unsung after this evening. Maybe this is very well-deserved recognition. But with that, I'll turn to the council. Anyone's inclined to speak up?
Yeah, I've attended a lot of forestation meetings over the last 5 or 6 years, and I'm fairly quiet. I'm afraid I'm concerned they may hand me something to do, but that hasn't happened. It was a seamless transition from Lee to Linda, and one of the things I've noticed about Linda runs a tight ship. She runs a tight meeting. She has an agenda. She pretty much sticks to the agenda. She will entertain conversation, but she pretty much gets things done at the end, gets whatever she intends to have accomplished is done at the end of the meeting. Just one other thing is Linda and the HOA. President, I don't know how you did it for 20 years. John Clark can talk about HOA president. It's a tough job at the best of times, and you've done that for 20 years. You're a real contributor, not only to your HOA, to the Forestation Board, and to the city of Prospect. Thanks, Linda.
Thanks, Don. Anyone else?
Actually, part of my report from the Jefferson County League of Cities was going to be to say how wonderful Linda's been. As I told you last month, one of the things we're doing in profiling home rule cities was to look at tree cities. And of course, the first thing I did was call Linda. You heard Herb talk about inviting things. Between Linda and I, we found out that there were 13 tree cities in Jefferson County. And on top of that, we had 5 more from talking to them who wanted to join. She had a conversation with one of the mayors. He's already now a tree city, and we've got 4 more that are waiting to come, and Linda's going to invite them to the meeting that we were talking about. So it's really exciting. It truly is.
Thank you, Sandra. So I've made the mistake once before in awarding the Craig Mile Award, not permitting the honoree to have an opportunity to speak. So I'm not going to make that mistake this evening. Linda, you're invited to make some remarks.
Well, after all the kind words, I think I ought to say something. And when the mayor called to advise me of this honor, I was amazed. I was humbled as I thought about those who have been recognized for this contribution to the community before me. It was amazing. And yes, I do believe in volunteerism and trying to do things to help others. I have been doing this in one way or another since high school, college, career, family. My Prospect story begins a little over 25 years ago when I moved here. Not knowing many people, I got involved in our HOA as a way to meet neighbors and learn more about the community. We had a street tree issue, so several board members attended a forestation board meeting. And before I knew it, I was being interviewed by Mayor Eberly and Lee Tucci. I said yes, as I've always been an avid gardener and I was working in the lawn and garden industry, so it was a good fit. And the rest is history with both groups, as well as lending a hand with our library. And I didn't know, Beth was going to say what a bow maker I am. I do have some skills. To me, what makes volunteerism special is the payback is usually much greater than the effort, with the benefits like meeting amazing people, making wonderful friends, and creating tangible benefits for others. So part of Prospect's magic is having so many residents who embrace making a difference and continue to make this city a wonderful place to be. So for all of you and the support I've had, thank you all.
Thank you. I appreciate those comments, and it reminds me we had a volunteer and staff recognition breakfast right around Thanksgiving time at the Hunting Creek Country Club, and there were over 50 people there. And looking around the room, all the council was present, but the citizens of this community are remarkable, and the service they bring to our community really helps make this the special place to live that it is. So Linda, you're a very important part of that, and we appreciate your work and your efforts and your comments this evening. So moving on with the agenda, the next item on the agenda is financial reports. John Carter.
So we are now halfway through the year. I'm going to summarize for December here. So all our money basically was in investments. If you looked at the financials that I sent this afternoon, actually had a hole in the checking, but trust me, we did not overdraw. So cash on hand actually is about 4.6 million today. We do have a couple budget lines that we run over. Salt is one of them now, road salt. So I anticipate we'll probably revisit the budget either next month, unless we can extend it to March. But looking at the restricted road or restricted funds, we have restricted road funds now at a balance of 183,000 and change. The capital project fund now sends at a total balance of 565,508. And I know everybody's wants to know about the public-private partnership balance, and that balance of which you budgeted 500,000 is now at $282,000. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Any questions for John? John, thanks for keeping track of all that thank you also for your report. Commission and board reports. The Architectural Review Commission, Bob Jacob is the chair. Bob, we turned that lectern so that the audience would get to hear more, but turn a little bit back this way because you're really going to be addressing the council.
There, how's that?
That's good. That's good.
Okay. We were busy this past week. We had a total of 3 meetings. The mayor probably stole some of my thunder here. But the first meeting was between the planners and the architects of the land that the mayor's talking about developing. And that was a meeting that was designed to get our input on what we thought we would like to have in that development, which is a pretty unique situation because we're getting involved extremely early in this process. And the mayor, I have to give him congratulations. He has assembled probably the most fantastic team. They're just astounding group of planners and developers that have national, if not international renown. So we're very, very lucky in having those. So they got our input on what we'd like to see in the development. The second meeting was just 2 days later when they came back and gave us some options on what they thought we would like to have in the meeting. So they gave us several different plans and designs. And again, it was a give and take. The third meeting was just this past Friday when they presented a initial plan, nothing cast in stone, but take amalgamation of everything that they had as far as our input and their expertise. And so now we're working with that. And I can just say that the committee itself has unanimously supported this effort. We're really looking forward to working with this group of people, and we think that this, if it comes to pass, will be the crown jewel of this city, if not the county, when they finally finish. So we have a lot of work ahead of us, but this past week was incredibly productive for the committee, and it's really a great opportunity to start so early in the process rather than everything is once it's been set down on paper.
Thank you for your report. All right. Any questions for Bob? Thanks so much, Bob. Next item on the agenda is the Ethics Commission. John Embry.
I'll keep this short. The Ethics Commission is required by Prospect City Ordinance 38.06 to present a report to the City Council. This year, its required date by ordinance falls in January. Next year, it will fall in December. But the commission is required only to meet when there is a need, when there is a problem. This year, we met only once, and it wasn't for a problem, but it was for a request for ethics clearance or an opinion on a legal matter in this case. And it was reported to the council on the October meeting in 2025. And some of that occurred in a non-public setting. If you have questions about that, please see Mayor Farnsley about it. One other matter of note, we have taken the ethics financial disclosure form. Happen to have one here. In the past, page 3, section on real property holdings and leases, underneath it, it now says not to include personal residence. In the past, it said include your personal residence. We found that for a couple of reasons, but the biggest one was there was a line in the Prospect ordinance that said, don't include personal residence. So that has been eliminated. And other than that, the only other thing I'll mention, and you get tired of listening to me, on the first business day in March, these forms are due. We have a few of them. We do not have, we have a lot of them still out. I have a couple with me if you need one, but it does carry penalties with it if they're not filled out. So if you need a form, or if you've got questions about it that would be better handled individually, I'll be around after the meeting for a few minutes.
Okay, thank you, John.
Okay.
Any questions for John? I understand that our ordinance provides that the council appoints the chair of the Ethics Commission.
That is correct.
So I would entertain a motion that John Embry be reappointed as the chair of the commission. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Dr. Furman made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, I think.
Good job, John.
Thanks, John. The next item on the agenda is the Forestation Board. So Linda Knox, you get to come back up.
This time it's just about trees. The forestation met on the 8th and we accomplished a lot of things. One of the primary things that we had not done before is we really didn't have a description for the city arborist. So as we're recruiting a replacement for Andrea Hanlon, we had to kind of review all the different things she was involved with and what our expectations would be of somebody coming in to work with us. So we've got that and we're ready to start recruiting. Not having an arborist in place, we did vote that we would hold off on doing the spring canopy program without the professional expertise to guide us in that project. So we hope our person is in place and we can continue the program in the fall. So we were disappointed to do that, but we thought it was the right thing to do. And you've heard a couple people talk about our event on February 21st, and this I think is going to be a very positive event in terms of it's open to the Prospect community, but the ability to work with other tree cities and share our experiences and encourage others to get involved, I think is going to be outstanding. Dr. John Hubbard sounds like he's going to do quite a presentation on oak trees. I know Herb has heard him speak before and said he was outstanding. Jack Baggett from Kentucky Forestry is here. He was with us and worked at ArborFest. He is excellent, and I think he will add a lot to the program as well. So if you're available on February 21st, please join us. And there, I think Herb and Connie are working on a communication piece that will be available to the community and can be used with the League of Cities for communication with them. But that's kind of what we've been up to. Any questions or comments?
One of the things she's got Baggett doing, which I'm really grateful to her for, is putting together some kind of format, how to become a tree city. Because if you look at the websites, they're kind of
It's pages and pages.
Anyway, and it's absolutely directly because she asked him to, and he's going to talk about it to these other tree cities that are coming, that are interested. So Prospect is really doing a great job with trees because of Linda.
We want people to get involved and not be intimidated by the process, because if you go to the Arbor Day Foundation website, it is pages and pages. There's a lot of verbiage, but if you kind of distill it, it's, I think, very manageable for a lot of cities. So I'm hoping that will be the way things roll out in the future. So
You
Thank
must
you.
have said that to the mayor of Woodland Hills.
Thank you.
He's a tree city now.
We did have a good conversation.
Thank you again, Linda. Next item on the agenda is Mr. Clark with the Investment Committee report.
Can you hear me okay?
No,
No?
that's a little better.
Okay. Investment committee met January.
Hold on, John. We need to do better at our end, maybe. Is there anything we can
Okay.
do?
Is that better?
You're just going to have to talk directly into that.
Okay. Is that better?
Yeah, Bill,
Okay.
try a little louder.
Oh, okay. How about that?
Yep, that's good. Just keep your voice up.
Okay. Investment Committee met January 13th.
Yep. John, you're gonna have to really make it louder.
Okay, the Investment Committee met January 13th. I'd like to thank the committee members, Bill Brab, Dennis Riggs, and Don Gibson, who provide excellent insight into finance and investments on this committee. We determined that we are in compliance with the investment policy and the KRS statutes that apply. At the time of the meeting, we had about 4.4 million in investments, 2.2 in money market, and about 2 million in enhanced income fund, and about 150,000 in our fund, S&P 500 fund. So the committee evaluated where we are and what the options were, and decided that no changes were necessary at this time, and we are ahead of budget as far as interest income for the fiscal year. So everything good on the investment side, and I'd be happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Any questions for John? It was a good meeting. Investments Committee meeting was very good. John, it's a good report. Thanks so much for your service on both the council and as Investments Committee Chair.
Thank you, Mayor.
So the next report is Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee. I think Carolyn Embry is going to make that report.
The Prospect Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee met on January 12th here in City Hall in the library with Carolyn Embry chairing the meeting. Mayor Farnsley expressed the sorrow of city staff at the sudden passing of receptionist and librarian Antoinette Dirksen, and reported on other matters pertaining to the city. Under Parks updates, Don Gibson reported on the status of the proposed boardwalk, including our grant request for funding and a scheduled meeting of the Ad Hoc Design Engineering Committee on January 22nd, that's this Thursday, here in City Hall, to review qualifications of contractor candidates. Sally Schneider reported that she and Lynn Granger have met with Jack Broghammer, contractor, about the repair of the Eagles Way Trail Boardwalk. Lynn will be the Parks Committee contact for that project. Tina Bevan is exploring the possibility of a partnership between the Parks Committee and an organization called CISMA, that stands for Cooperative Invasive Species Management Area, which is a collaborative group of landowners, agencies, and citizens working together to control invasive plants and protect native ecosystems. Under Parks programs, Sally Schneider reported that 10 to 15 people participated in the December Owl Prowl Walk. I think it was a very cold and blustery night, but at least a few people turned out for that. Tina reported that the November Trail Bash had 86 entries and resulted in a net revenue of $1,200. The Trail Bash has raised $7,000 for the city parks since its inception in 2017. Under the Scout report, Lynn reported that he and David Holmes are planning to replace some of the boards on the Eagles Way Trail. And I don't know whether that's happened or not. David, has that happened? Not quite?
Section that we were working on is the oldest section that exists. And Lynn and I found out in trying to replace the boards, that we didn't have all the tools we needed because the screws no longer were able to be pulled out with the screw battery operated handheld devices we had. So we got ready to schedule another time. We did replace one board, but we probably need to replace 5 or 6 more just because we have these pieces and it'll aesthetically make it look nicer to take out some of the boards. They weren't safety hazards like the one that we did replace, but aesthetically it'll make it look nicer. So when we get some nice weather again, whenever that will be, Lynn and I will go out and finish up the work that we started.
Okay, thank you, David. And in the next month or so, we'll be starting to plan our summer concert series, which is always fun, and the wildflower walks in April. And that concluded our business. And the next meeting of the Parks Committee is Monday, February 9th, right here in City Hall at 5 o'clock.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Any questions?
Any questions for Carolyn? Thank you for your report. Your good work with the Parks Committee. The next item on the agenda is the Jefferson County League of Cities. Sandra?
The meeting was actually very active, and I've already told you about Linda and what's happening with the trees. The profiling group that Don Gibson and I are on had 2 reports on the agenda. The tree report, which is beginning to have a life all by itself. The other one was, as I told you a long time ago, nobody had a list of all of the home rule cities and what metro council they were in district. Some of them, like J-Town, is in 4 different ones. That report has now gone to the board. They've approved it, and it will be going out to all 26 metro council people. And if you'd all like a report, I'll be glad to send you one too. It's particularly helpful if you're running for office and you want to talk to home rule cities. In addition to that, the other thing that came out that was interesting about trees is that there are only about 30 certified arborists in this Jefferson County area. There's a strong recognition of the fact that that is an inadequate number for all of the things that need to get done. In addition to that, excuse me, Metro Council has a safety committee which has not met. And the purpose of it is to take a look at the consent decree and how they're going to go ahead and conform to it, even though they don't have to. So that will be coming up in the near future. In terms of the 109 board, which deals with solid waste, the report will be going next week to the board. I'm very comfortable with all of what's happened in regard to home rule cities. And as you know, initially, they looked like they were going to take over all the waste collection for all of the 80 home rule cities. Now, there are a number of paragraphs where that is not going to happen. There is still a very real concern about the fact that they are going to try to divide all of Jefferson County into roughly 6 districts. Metro would be responsible for bidding out waste hauling for all of the property owners in each of the 6 districts. And what they are proposing is that the first district be selected. And that has a lot of implications, but in terms of home rule cities, right now, everything is either not affecting us or it's optional and we can opt in. I think for home rule cities, we've got 2 to 3 years before we have to get excited again. There also is a document which you'll get, Mayor, as a link, which explains what the Jefferson County League of Cities is. And what they're going to ask you to do is put that as a link on our website somewhere. The other thing they're talking about, I don't know if any of you are getting the things that are coming out of the library for Cafe Louie.
But what they do, I've been to a few of those in the past and they're very helpful. What they end up doing is for where that is taking place within the library system, they have the elected officials from that there to speak and answer questions. And it's usually very informative. The one that affects us is March 7th at the Northeast Regional Library, and it's from 9 to 10. And they almost always keep it on target in terms of time, so it's not very time consuming. The next meeting of the general meeting, this particular one was Chief Humphrey. And he talked about some of the things that you're seeing on the local news stations in regard to policing locally. He did a very good job, but there wasn't anything I haven't heard on the local news. The next general meeting is February 19th, and the speaker will be Ken Fleming, who is our area representative of Kentucky's House. And that's it.
February 19 is when Ken Fleming.
Yeah, Ken Fleming. And that'll be 7 o'clock.
Okay. Thanks, Sandra. Any questions for Sandra? Thank you again, Sandra. The next item on the agenda is the police report.
Yes, sir. I'll get started. I have three brief items to go over, and then one item for Michael to go over kind of as we go through. Traffic enforcement, working some issues up here on the hill. As we know, speeding up and actually up the hill. And down. We clocked a vehicle going 75, almost 80 up the hill.
Wow.
So that wasn't his only item. He also didn't have a license, a social security number, many other items needed to drive a vehicle. So he received a free night stay downtown. So, but that is an issue, obviously, that we've worked on. But occasionally we just have somebody that just cannot help themselves. You know, it just, but we can help. So that gentleman was helped to a night stay. Another thing I'll talk about, and I hate talking about these things, is the fraud that we talk about. We've had a great run of not having many issues with it. We had a pretty significant case that came up probably about 2 weeks ago. It's been going on for a couple of months. 73-year-old male, one of our residents, was scammed. He was on Instagram and Facebook, Instagram. We say it all the time. All these things, don't do anything involving financial things on that. It was ended up being a crypto scam. As of right now, it's over $400,000. 48,000 to start. Another wire transaction of 75. I could go on and on. The biggest one was 175. He actually consulted with Schwab during this time, who told him it was a scam. I wish he would have called us, but told him it was a scam. He still continued to do it. So I'm not sure why they didn't report it or what maybe they did. Their process is a little bit different. But in the thing about the crypto scams, you don't recover that. That money's not going to be recovered. It's just not, unfortunately. There's a special place for folks like that. We know that. But as we always say again, if there's any questions, and anybody that's listening to this that's a resident, do not click on anything. Do not send anything. Call us before you do anything. There is no question that's off limits. That is not. Don't feel like you're asking something that's dumb, because it's not, because these people are really good at scamming, especially the elderly. Our third item I'll talk about is our car hoppers. We've had pretty good success at our late shift, especially snatching these guys when they're out here, pulling up on them. The last time was in the Sutherlands, where they got nothing because Sergeant Cirillo spotted them. They took off. Saturday night, they did go up on Timber Ridge, got into a couple of unlocked cars, rummaged through, hit off, went over to Harriet's Landing, got in a vehicle that we believe may have had the keys in it. The owner doesn't know if the keys were in it or not. If you're not sure, most likely the keys are in it. It's common sense. It was a 2017 Corvette that was taken. I will give Michael and Detective Peters a lot of credit. Immediately, by the time we found out the next morning, on Sunday morning, as we got the report, put a ton of information out on a network that Michael established with other departments, other folks that work exclusively those cases. We were able to put out a mass email to Metro, to all the officers that were there. Within about 24 hours, we had the vehicle recovered. The air unit and Metro did a tremendous job, but everything that Michael and Detective Peters put out put our case out there in the middle of it, and we were able, an arrest was made. The person who stole the vehicle was arrested, admitted to it, believe it or not. There were approximately, 4 to 5 vehicles that were stolen. The air unit did a tremendous job following them whenever all that kind of found out. But that was a tremendous case, and I just wanted to commend Michael and everybody else. And the Late Watch guys were on it too, gathering information from the 3rd Division that night after that happened. So they did a tremendous job. The kid that admitted that they stole vehicles from in Mount Washington, came out to Pewee Valley, then came out here. So as I've said before, they start the night early and they hit a lot of different places. And unfortunately, there's fertile ground with unlocked doors. And unfortunately, we kind of have that issue. The last item that we'll bring up is, as everyone knows, we've been working really hard on the back of the neighborhood on the addresses. We've had success with all that. There is one kind of a stumbling block that I've talked about, and I say this every time. One, we're dealing with human beings to make sure that this thing works. We've done a tremendous job of communicating, doing that. Probably the last item that we have is working within the computer-aided dispatch system, working within technology with, remember, we have Oldham County, we have our sheriff's department, and then we have Metro. And I know that may sound the kind of jarring dealing with all those things, but it's a lot to deal with. And there's some things we just can't change. And I'll let Michael talk about that.
Well, essentially, even though he put it kind of nicely, essentially everything we've done has fallen apart.
Yes.
So we're back to square one. All of the Oldham County residents, they're going to be in a position where they had no choice but to contact Oldham County. And Oldham County will either recognize that they're one of our residents or they won't. And that's kind of unfortunately where we're at, because the situation we've encountered is the PSAP, or the Public Service Answering Point, that we utilize is Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. The one that Oldham County uses is, it covers their whole county. That's Oldham County. Our PSAP is actually a satellite agency for Louisville, Jefferson County, which is MetroSafe. So MetroSafe, unfortunately, has the final say in anything that we try to do. So all of the things that Oldham County, the Sheriff's Office, and us came up with that we thought we could accomplish was, MetroSafe put the kibosh on all of it, and they refused to add the data points and road center lines that we need to be able to have Jefferson County dispatch for the Oldham County residents. So we're going to have to come up with another plan. And the first step in that plan is going to be the MOU, which is a memorandum of understanding. It's kind of a contract between us and Oldham County that establishes the fact that we're responsible for those addresses that are in Oldham County in our city, and that they expressly give us the law enforcement authority to act in their county. That agreement has, Mr. Gorman has already read over that, and he suggested some changes. I made those changes. So that agreement is ready for approval by our council, Oldham County Fiscal Court, and then it'll be, if it's approved by those two entities, then it'll go to the executives and the police chiefs for their signatures. And that will at least establish our authority for those addresses, which gives us better footing for dealing with the Oldham County Dispatch Center and making sure that they contact us. Because at that point, then it's like, well, those addresses are theirs. We're not fooling with them, and they'll be more likely to call us. The issue that we have really is only related to non-emergency runs, because on a hot run, the system has always worked because we're closer and they know it. They will always call us and say, hey, you guys are going to be way closer. Get over there and help us out. So that part of the system has always worked. They've always asked us to help them there. The problem comes in with the non-emergency runs where they may, miss the notes that we've had them add into the addresses. And then you might get an Oldham County officer for a report for your car being broken into rather than prospect officer. So then at that point, it'd kind of be your, the residents' responsibility or not responsibility, but it's kind of their choice where they can say, I'm a prospect resident, I'd like for them to do it. And then you would have to make just a delayed report to us. So I mean, there's ways around that for the non-emergency runs. It's not really, the paramount issue that we're talking about for the hot runs. And historically, the hot runs have always worked out. So really, I mean, I don't think there's any issue with that. It's just trying to establish those other procedures and getting a more consistent method of dispatch for the non-emergency stuff.
And we've met with them and have a really good open line of communication with Oldham County. So it's something that, like I said, we're relying on a dispatcher in the middle of the night sometimes to make those decisions, but they have been making them. I mean, that's the thing that we talk about, but they clearly have a written out list of houses and it's noted in their system to call us.
What kind of volume are we talking about?
Very small.
Yeah, probably less than 25 runs a year. But see, the problem is with the new next gen 911, I mean, this is a nationwide issue and each county is responsible for its own addresses. I mean, literally you guys are in a place where your only option to actually get us to be able to dispatch for you all would be legislation through the Commonwealth of Kentucky that's signed by the governor to make you all part of Jefferson County. And we know where that's going.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of where we're at in those PSAPs.
Interesting.
They just don't want to take on the additional manual effort that it takes because they have to manually go through they have, annual checks that they have to do and that where they can run everything else through just systematically with their computers. They actually have to validate those by hand and they've just decided they're not going to do that.
And the way we left it last time was that people should just call 911. Is that what we should still tell people to do?
Yeah, because then it's gonna geolocate. If you call 911, depending on which cell tower you hit it decides which PSAT you go to. From your landlines, those are legally bound to an address and those addresses are strictly assigned to each PSAT. So you're gonna get whatever you get depending on which county you're in for your landline.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Tony.
You got it.
It'd probably be, or maybe think about contacting Carolyn Cameron. She's been pretty interested in this issue and maybe give her an update on.
Yeah, I was gonna send something out to their HOA president so he can distribute it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for all your efforts on that. All right, then, now we move to unfinished business. The first item of unfinished business is the second reading of ordinance 658, and this is the golf cart ordinance. So this received a first reading at the January meeting. It's before the council tonight for a second reading, and if it's approved for a second reading, it will be adopted. Is there a motion to give a second reading to ordinance 658, series 2025?
Yes, so moved.
Mayor Evans made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Gibson seconded. Is there discussion? We've had pretty good discussion at the two previous meetings, so I think we know that the issues. So if we're ready for a vote, I'll start with Sandra
Yes.
and John Evans,
Yes, sir.
Don Gibson.
Yes.
And Christian Furman
Yes.
and John Clark.
Yes.
Okay, so that is approved by a vote of 5-0.
Actually, 6-0.
Maybe we get an absentee ballot. Okay.
read it.
Yes, we do. Thank you. So
Arms left.
who made the motion?
I did.
John, would you read the ordinance, please? Or the title?
Ordinance 658, Series 2025, an ordinance authorizing and regulating the operation of golf carts on certain public roadways pursuant to KRS 189.286 and creating a new Chapter 75 of the City of Prospect Code of Ordinance for that purpose.
Thank you. Thank you to the council. I think this is a good step for Prospect. So the next item of unfinished business is second reading of ordinance 659, an ordinance consenting to annexation of city-owned property at 6696 Delhaven Avenue into the city of Prospect. So that property is in Metro Louisville, outside of Prospect, and this ordinance will be the city's consent to that property being annexed by the city of Prospect. The city owns that property. Is there a motion to give a second reading to ordinance 659?
So moved.
Mayor Evans made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
David Holmes seconded. Is there discussion? If not, I'll ask for a vote, please. Christian Furman,
I just want to say, this is the head property, which you refer to as the head
That's correct.
property, right? Okay, yes.
Don Gibson,
Yes.
John Evans,
Yes.
and David Holmes.
Yes.
Sandra Leonard
Yes.
and Sean Clark.
Yes.
Okay. That passes by a vote of 6-0. John Evans, will you read that title also, please?
Ordinance 659, Series 2025. An ordinance consenting to annexation of city-owned property at 6696 Delhaven Avenue into the city of Prospect.
Okay, thank you. So that concludes the items on the agenda. Is there any further business? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thanks very much.
You know, Christian, what we should do, we should be annexed by Oldham County. We should become a part of Oldham County. Get the hell out of
Good
Metro.
job.
That's what we ought to do.
Just as 20 houses all over.
Prospect, get the hell out of Metro.
That would be cool.
Oh, Herb. They will.
Starting with Jim Walker.
The two things that
It's
are not in our best interest.
Yes, sir.
Example.
You would think that.
Oh, that's